Drew and Kelsey, Lord, thank you for the awesome family and support they have from everyone here. And I pray that God, you bless our meal, bless our time, and help us enjoy what you've given us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. What awesome party, thank you. Yeah, weddings are a little more than that, right? So shout out to all the people who planned this spectacular event, right? So Kelsey herself, all of her friends, her mom, her aunt, who am I missing? So anyway, this is obviously a big production, and appreciate everybody coming out. Many of you came great distance to this event, so we want to give a special shout out for all of you. And today's modern weddings, I guess, when people get married from North Carolina, Minnesota, and live in Texas, and whatever, you've got friends from all over the country. And then you pull together this wedding event, and everybody's thinking, oh man, do I really want to make that trip to North Carolina? So each of you being here tonight is such a special honor, and we really appreciate every one of you coming out. So what I thought I would do with Miss Kelsey, a little bit of, encouragement, positive, and then some teasing, if that's okay, is I thought I'd break up Kelsey's journey into kind of two buckets. Bucket one would be what I call a straight line bucket, and bucket two being the curvy road bucket. So when it comes to straight line, we all knew Kelsey was going to kind of be a special kid, even when she was really young. I remember being in grocery stores and whatever, and everybody going, how old is she? And everybody was floored, but that girl's got quite the vocabulary for it. Little did we know, of course, that she wouldn't stop talking for the rest of her life. But clearly, at an early age, she had to grasp the language when you thought something was going to be special. But she got into a love of baby dolls pretty early, and kind of going, well, where's this going? But I mean, some people have a love of baby dolls, but this girl was completely obsessed with baby dolls. Having had as many as possible, and they all had special names and all that kind of good stuff. So you saw in the video last night, one of the episodes at the end was her, just sharing kind of a nurturing attitude as a young child. So you kind of go, where's this going? So she gets to school age, and you start to see a Kelsey that's ridiculously driven, ridiculously focused, ridiculously able to make A's in every class. And to give you just one comical story, at least I think it's comical, is the teacher would give an assignment. The thing is, you got 2 weeks to turn in this project. So Kelsey would come home that evening, do the project, and then 3 days later do a second version of the project, and then possibly do a third version of the project before it was due in 2 weeks. So then her biggest decision was which one of the options do I take to the teacher? So you knew she was going to be something crazy special. So far, straight line. You got a goal, going to achieve it, and so then you get into high school era, and most people, at least me, high school was kind of an easy, lazy, play sports, take a few classes, and cruise through high school, not Kelsey. So we ended up moving to Charlotte, having been in Raleigh, and first day as a sophomore, she was going, I want every advanced placement this place has to offer. So her high school years were actually quite challenging, as I recall. But the reward for that was, when she got accepted at NC State, she was able to place out a full year. So most people would say, I'm going to drag this out in 4 years. But not Kelsey. Kelsey graduated in 3. And along that route, so she wanted to go to med school. She got accepted in 3 for the med schools in the state. Finally made the big decision on which one she'd go to. But so far, straight line. We got a goal, we're going to achieve, and now we're in med school. So, so anyway, yeah, really. So then this kind of becomes a part of the true story, you know. For those of the doctors in the room, we appreciate you coming out. You know the whole exercise of match day, and the whole idea that I have to put down my first choice, my second choice, my third choice, and then all the schools put down who we want first, second, and third choice. And then we have the miracle match day, where the computer says, here's where everybody's going. Whether you want to go there or not is not the question. This is where you get assigned. So as it just so happens, Kelsey's second choice was Austin, Texas. So here we are. I'm just kind of mesmerized with all the particular decisions that go on in life to put two people together. So there's one that just kind of like, well, she could have ended up in some other city, there'd be no Drew. But so far, a straight line. I set a goal, I achieve a goal, I move to the next goal. So, you know, just an unbelievably driven person. So then we get to, I guess, talk about the wrinkles in the straight line story. I think I've scarred my poor daughter. Because there's a phase of her life when she was, what would we say, famously clumsy. So as a young kid, Mom would be giving her a big bear hug, comforting her, wiping away the tears, and Dad standing over there going, that's a Kelsey for you. So I talk about being scarred because when she got into blogging, that was the name of the blog. That's a Kelsey for you. So apologies for scarring you there, Kelsey. But so now we get to kind of switch over to the winding road. When it comes to love, set a goal, achieve the goal, next goal, not exactly a good formula. So I call this phase of Kelsey the winding road. So we were all a little nervous when she went through high school, no boyfriend, college, not without trying, but no serious So the end of her college, the very last day, graduation day, a spark emerged, which led to, again, a continuation of the winding road. So there were several times along that journey where there was a flaming breakup. And the pain would be so great that there would be no phone calls. I can't talk about that. But there would be a few texts going back and forth. And if you remember, one of my therapies is I'm in a blue state is to find the music that I love. So I would send her songs that were encouraging because I knew my girl was in pain. But again, part of the winding road. So then this, Austin, Texas thing happens, and we're kind of going, we'll never see that girl again. We'll find some gentleman from the Texas area, they'll settle there, have kids there, and we'll be on a plane going to visit the grandkids. So that was our belief. But then she met this guy named Drew, and it's kind of fun that
that same one. That one.
she would be on the phone about Sir Drew. It was, as a father, you're not listening to the words. You're listening to the emotion behind the words. There's enthusiasm, there's hope, and joy might come to an end. So yes, indeed, Drew, we gotta say that you're an awesome, and I couldn't be more proud of having my daughter married to a finer man. So now Kelsey, as we kind of teased last night, found her Prince Charming, and we love you for that. So to tease Drew a little bit, right away you kind of go, I'm impressed with this guy. Kelsey, good choice. But, a guy with a ton of hobbies, a lot of interest. Obviously loves the heck out of my daughter Kelsey. For that, we love her the most. But, just to give him one rib, a handyman that is in pursuit of every power tool in the place. Kudos.
Is that thing turbocharged?
Yeah, really. All right, let me find my place. But Drew is obviously an outstanding young man. So we want to give thanks to his parents. I don't think two human beings come along in this world without having spectacular parents.
Yeah.
So we want to give a shout out to Chip and Kathy. You've done good. For those of you who have young kids or are having kids on the way or thinking about kids, you kind of have to think about this important point. You get about 12, maybe 13 years to create a productive human being. And at 12, 13, they start to become incredibly independent, and it's not over. So you get 12 to 13 years to create a human being. And again, Jim and Kathy, job well done.
It wasn't easy. Stillness is there. So we had at the end of service tonight, some pointers about successful marriage. One of the things that I reflect upon is that we were so impressed when Camille got married that both sides of the aisle had parents that were, 30, 40-year marriages. And again, tonight, we have the blessing that both parents have long-lasting marriages. The institution of marriage has obviously become really important to this family, and I'm looking forward to the fact that that tradition will continue. But let's get some marriage tips from somebody who's done it for a while. This is actually pretty basic stuff, so don't get too excited. The first point I would make is never stop dating. So, so the never stop dating mantra is usually pretty easy when people have no kids in the house and that sort of thing. But then when the kid phase happens, there are some parents who become, my kids are everything, and we're submissive to our kids and their every whim, and they kind of lose who they are as a couple. So they kind of going, never stop dating. And being a couple and your relationship, first and foremost, and your kids will fall in line if they see the two of you with a strong relationship. So, first point. How's we doing?
The second point I would make is going knowing that people don't change that much. You see too many couples that fairly soon after the marriage, you'll hear all this language about
people don't change all that much. So if you're going in thinking, now that we're married, his crazy ideas will go away. And her, well, bossy approach to life. So people do change. We shouldn't make that a 100% carte blanche thing. They do change, but they don't change that much. And people get in trouble when I think they expect the change to happen to have a happy marriage. You got what you got. So I'm going to close with one last. We got into that a little bit in the service. Marriages do go through phases. There'll be a time when I'll say to Kelsey, how's the marriage? And she'll be wonderful, Dad. There'll be times when I say to Kelsey, how's the marriage? But I think what's important is to know that you guys were meant to be forever, together forever. And with all the long-term couples around you, I think you have the confidence to know that this is going to be cool for a long, long time. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Years, probably, right, a little older, but we met playing lacrosse at Michigan Tech. It didn't really take long for us to become practically inseparable. That's great. We played lacrosse together, traveled together, laughed together, cried together a few times, and eventually lived together in an apartment that we still talk about almost every time that we see each other. You see, it wasn't just your average college apartment. It was one of the 4 apartments conveniently located above the Cuban Brewing Company. As you can imagine, we spent most of our nights down at the bar drinking too much, mostly free craft beer from sweeping the floors. But 2 years passed in that apartment until I decided to move back downstate, Michigan, and we found a person to take my spot in the apartment, and at that time, Drew was like, hey, I got one more semester, why don't you just stay? And I did. So somebody was already moving in, and we ended up being like, hey, why don't we just share a room? Like 24 years old, sharing bunk beds. Just for one more semester, it was fun, you know? It's not that big of a deal. So, our days at Tech did, come to a bittersweet ending, but our friendship never did. The thing many of you may or may not know about Drew is that he's the biggest hopeless romantic I've ever met. After college, there was a lot of times that Drew he was living in Detroit, and he ended up coming and staying with me and my now wife. And for days, maybe weeks at a time, various reasons range from, duck hunting camp to post-breakup blues. And scope of the lows of Drew's dating life, we'd have a few beers, Drew would pick a rom-com, and at the end, he would always say, that's pretty much all I want. I feel like I'm not asking for that much. After a while, Drew spent enough time at our house that we have a room named after him. Like, even to this day, we still have, it's like we got our front room and we got Drew's room. So, I'm very proud to be standing up here as Drew's best man, and just as happy as I was when he stood with me almost exactly 5 months ago as the best man at my wedding. Kelsey, the first time I met you, we went up to Muskoka. You were on the boat when you met us at the dock to take the boat across to the cottage. I knew immediately that she was Drew's rom-com girl. Kelsey, you're the best thing that's ever happened to Drew. Don't let him tell you any different. You instantly fit right into our friend group. You're kind, compassionate, and most of all patient, because everybody here knows Drew, you gotta be patient. And you bring out the best version of Drew. With that, we all raise our glasses to toast the newlyweds. And there's been long shits and tall shits, ships have sailed the seas, but there's no ships like friendships. So here's to you and Kelsey.
So growing up, Kelsey and I were playmates, occasional co-conspirators, and more often than not, in a disagreement. Some of my favorite childhood memories include Kelsey and I sitting on my bed in high school watching Disney Channel. It wasn't exactly the cool thing to be doing on a Friday night, watching Sweet Life of Zack and Cody as a teenager. But it was okay. I was doing it with my little sister. We would sit there laughing so hard we couldn't even breathe. Because of that, I will always think of my car shifter as the Pringle. And smile and think of you. As we've gotten older, our friendship has also grown. We talk on the phone in between our busy schedules, and when Kelsey called to tell me she wanted to go to dinner when she was in town and she was bringing this new boyfriend, of course, Quinn and I said yes. I remember hanging up the phone, and I said to Quinn, I was like, "This is something right?" So we arrived at this dinner, and the thing that really struck me was his ability to make her laugh. So residency at that time was quite the Debbie Downer. And it was good to see her move. It had been a while since I'd seen Kelsey laughing that hard that she couldn't breathe. It told me that Drew could be the one. And he was checking all the boxes. He didn't mind having his picture taken over and over and over when we got there. And he was committed to meeting her family and possibly moving to Raleigh. We were all crossing our fingers. He's also an excellent, maybe a little bit overbearing dog dad. And plus, he has an A as his last name. So when Kelsey and I were little, we didn't really talk about how our future husbands' personalities would be, what they would look at. No. We fantasized about one thing, and that was to get a last name promotion. Always in class, as a W, was already getting pretty old by the time we were in elementary school. I am honored to stand here today as not only your sister, but as your matron honor to celebrate you both. May your marriage be filled with laughter and love that reminds you there's always something to smile well together. That even when times get tough, you can find a way to laugh through it. Let this go. A toast to Drew and Kelsey, to their love, laughter, and a lifetime of joy.
I have to answer a serious question here tonight. How did a guy from Minnesota end up with this hot young thing from Carolina? And how did it happen in Austin, Texas? Now, if you were here last night, we kind of went over a little bit, you know, you got a little bit of backstory here, a little backstory there. And we're going to go my rendition of how all this happened. Here, next slide, please. All right, so as every good presentation, I have a thesis, right? And this is how you know that we can also agree. All right, there's two things that are crucial to how this worked out, right? Kelsey did not review these. send it over to you guys. Alright, so anyways, my thesis is the reason Kelsey fell in love with me is one, because I'm going to ski at age 4, and 2, because Reverend Charles Sinclair Applegate purchased land in Muskoka, Ontario in 1920. Alright? Next slide, please, Karen. Alright, now, Gemini AI says all good presentations need audience participation. So everyone that thinks that I can make this work, thumbs up, fish emoji. And everyone, that's a lot more faith than I thought I'd get. Everyone else can make up thumbs down. Kelsey, grumpy, after shift. All right, next slide, please, Tanner. Wonderful. All right, so where it all started. So again, we had Kelsey over here. This is a great photo because she is, for those of you who maybe, hello? For those of you who don't know, Kelsey is an OBGYN. And for the rest of you that don't know, I do still ski. So, we started here, now we're here. Tanner, next slide, please. All right. So, this whole story begins with me going to Michigan Tech. Now, I talked to my parents, and we couldn't figure out why I chose to go to Michigan Tech. And we came to the conclusion that, well, I didn't want to go where Brett went. Wherever Brett went. There it is. And Michigan Tech had a ski hill, and as Chip likes to say, you pay $30,000 tuition, or sorry, you pay for a $30,000 lift ticket, you get free tuition. So anyways, I ended up at Michigan Tech. They didn't have a ski bitmoji, so I'm figure skating. And then Kelsey's hanging out down here with the little nerd books. Down there, way. I think at that point you were at the beach. I don't remember. But anyways, next slide, please, Tanner. All right. So Michigan Tech, a lot of really crucial things happened for this to work out. I met a lot of good friends. Actually, we got all the guys up here. Let's see, we got Nick, we got Adam, Tanner, who's somewhere. Tanner's the one. Sorry, dude, this is so stressful. I don't think I was Adam Cottrell is also here. He played lacrosse with us, so it's nice to see him. Oh, there he is. Got a mustache now, I didn't know. So anyways, met these guys up there. Had a really great time. Tanner, next slide, please. And while I was up there, a little bit of backstory, because we're going to go off tangent just a tad, trying to keep everyone interested. So, me and Kelsey were at church in Austin, Texas, and she had her Bible open to a page, and it was November 17th, 2017. She wrote, "Where is my husband? When am I going to meet him?" And I was like, I can't miss this opportunity. Tanner, next slide, please. I was ice fishing. Time. I ended up working at 24G. Now, at that time, Kelsey was in North Carolina doing your MBE, probably. Yeah, I think so. I was going to put a whole monologue of me going all over the place and her kind of just saying where she was. I figured this would work. Tanner, next slide, please. Alright, so when I was down in Detroit and while I was at school, one of the big things of why Kelsey fell in love with me is obviously because I went skiing. And with skiing was fun. I got to do ski patrol where we get to take people down on sleds, which kids love sleds. And then I also was doing search and rescue with my dog Bruce. Bruce. Thank you. The other thing that these two things kind of led me into, I think, what Kelsey really loved about me, and that was the couple months I spent holding babies. Because I was like, I need serotonin. And you go hold babies in the NICU and you get serotonin. So anyways, volunteering is crucial to this story. So again, Kelsey's down in Texas now. I don't know if you see the little bookberry down there. I think she's been down there reading about skiing. Okay, next slide, please. All right, I decided to move to Texas. So the crazy thing about this, and my parents might be able to attest to it, when I decided to move to Texas, it wasn't like, I had to, or there was some big life event. It was me and my buddy were driving up to Canada. and we were sitting in the car, 6 hours in, we were like, we should move to Texas. And neither one of us had jobs in Texas. And so anyways, we took our jobs, packed up, we moved down there. I fortunately got a job. Tanner, next slide, please. Oh, and we're so close. At this point, me and Kelsey are mere miles apart. And then what happened, Tanner? Oh. No! So close! And then she decided she was going to go volunteer for Doctors Without Borders? No? Samaritan's Purse? I'm not doing this with notes, folks. And she was down there for quite a while, and it's really good that she was because she helped a lot of people. And we met on a dating app, as most people our age do. And the thing I loved about her photo is she was actually delivering a child in one of her photos from that trip, which is just amazing. It's one of my favorite photos. I did not download a dating app to get that photo because I think that would be weird. So next slide, please. All right, we went on a first date. Wonderful. Tanner? She met my friends. She decided, hey, this guy seems good. We've been going out for a couple weeks. Yeah, let's go drive all the way to a country that I really haven't been to. We'll take his dog, it'll be fine. And we'll go meet all of his friends in this crazy place. And then we decided to drive to, did we go to Minnesota next week? I think we did. Anyways, we met my family, my friends. Kelsey's a trooper. She stayed with me the whole time. Next slide, please. All right, and then we got engaged up in Canada, which was amazing. I knew actually before I met her that I was going to propose in Canada. So it actually meant a lot that I got to do in that very special place. And next slide, please. And then we took this one right in the bathroom here a little earlier. And we got married. So I thought this initially, and I thought there'd be more people that wouldn't agree, but I think everyone thinks that I know how to live together. Had I not learned how to ski, I would have never went to Michigan Tech. I would have never ended up volunteering ski patrol. We would have had anything to talk about on my first date. I would have never ended up getting a job in Detroit, which would have not gotten me down to Texas, because I would have never met Winston. I wouldn't have these great friends that, made you be like, oh, this guy's someone involved. And if it weren't for my great-grandfather buying a place in Muskoka, I wouldn't have taken you up there to meet him. We wouldn't have gotten engaged up there. And, who knows what would have happened. So anyways, that's my speech. I do have some thank yous I'd like to give out. There was really no point to that, I just wanted to share. So first of all, Jim and Ian, you guys are amazing. You did a lot of work for this. This has been many, many months. I've listened to phone calls and all that stuff. Good for you. Mark, thank you so much for officiating today. It's really hard when you move from Texas like we did with a couple months in town and, trying to find like a community in the church and, get an officiant that we, and can kind of, make it feel like a really good service. So we appreciate you doing that for us. I'd like to thank those folks that came from far away. Did anyone come farther than Colorado? Nobody. All right. Yeah. Thanks, man. I'd like to thank my family. Obviously, you guys did a lot. Thanks for getting me here. There was a point in my life where I spent most time at Adam's house, so I gotta give a shout out to Larry, wherever he's at. Yeah, Larry, thank you for letting me spend more time there than with my family. And then I gotta say thank you to Kelsey because I didn't get all A's in school, but somehow here we are. Yep, I took physics twice, don't get brag. So yeah, that's all I got. The last little bit, Nick Kill has a really great cheers for us. Behind you. Nick's behind me, but wherever it needs to go is out on the patio after this. So we're all gonna go outside, we're gonna grab a baby beer. It looks like a beer, it's still beer. It's not beer. We're gonna grab that, we're gonna go do a little cheers while we're out there. They're gonna clear out some tables for dancing and whatnot. So anyways, if you can all make your way, that'll be wonderful. Thanks.